Alex and Ken from RotoWire here, and while we're waiting for the NBA Finals to begin, we are drafting our early top 10 for 2024 fantasy basketball season. Ken, you got first pick. Who are you taking?
My number one pick is boring and safe. Nikola Jokic, the Joker. Sure, Wemby is the tempting, sexy pick, but Joker beats him big in field goal percentage, assist, and turnovers. We're doing this for 9 category. Joker played 79 games last year. He ranked first in total stats and third in stats per game. And as John Daly said, quote, "You can pull a muscle, but you can't pull fat." I feel better about Joker playing more games than Wemby. I'm going Joker with the number one pick.
Well, I'm following you right up with Wemby, the sexy pick. I'm sure he'll go first in a lot of drafts. Yeah. Ranked 5th and 8 cat last year per game, and that was after kind of a slow start.
True.
From the new year on, he averaged 23, 11, and 4 with 3.9 blocks, 1.2 steals, and this is under 30 minutes a game, 29.7 minutes a game. So if that goes up, in addition to him getting better, that production goes up. Was already a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, led the league in blocks. I think he'll be an MVP candidate next year. Not exactly sure where he'll start in the odds, but he'll be close. You might get him at forward and center based on your league settings. Either way, I think it's either him or Jokic for number one.
Sounds good to me. Alex. And then with number 3, I'm going with SGA. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander finally played 75 games last year after 3 rough game count seasons. He's option number 1 for OKC and will only be 26 years old this upcoming season. I always focus on centers and point guards first, and in my opinion, SGA is point guard number 1. I pondered Luka here, but prefer SGA's free throw percentage, steals, and lower turnovers.
Well, I'm going to follow up with Luka Doncic, who's about to be in the NBA Finals. Ranked 3rd in 8 cat. I know we're playing 9 cat, but a lot of people disregard turnovers. If you take away free throw percentage, he was ranked 1st. So, and it's not even a terrible free throw percentage. Doncic is up to at least 79%, which is I would consider decent for the position he plays. Obviously, an amazing playoff run in the prime of his career. Does he miss time? A little bit, but it's mostly he's banged up. No major injuries for him. Averaged 34, 10, and 9 with 1.9 stocks. The defense for him is, I don't think he's a good defender, but he does get more numbers, I think, than people realize, which obviously is what matters for fantasy. Led the whole league in points, led NBA in usage rate 3 of the past 4 years. I'm almost certain he's going to open as the MVP favorite next year. Really hard to go wrong with picking Luka Doncic at the spot.
Agreed. All right, at number 5 is my first injury risk. I'm going with Anthony Davis, AD. Am I worried about injuries? Yes, I am. But his number 4 rank in per game stats and surprising number 3 rank in total stats last season is just too irresistible. I mean, who else shoots 82% from the line with over 12.5 rebounds and 2.3 blocks a game? Nobody. And he's probably going to be able to play at forward, going to be forward center eligible. That's where Yahoo has AD right now.
I'm going with another big man, Giannis. Look, if you're comfortable ignoring free throw percentage, I think this is a great spot to get Giannis.
You already got Luka, so you might as well go low.
might as well punt free throw percentage at that point. Ranked 3rd in 8 cat if you discount free throws, right? Still ranked 18th if you include them. So whether or not you want to do that's up to you. But I thought about Embiid here, who was the number 1 player in fantasy last year per game. Unquestionably, Embiid is the better just per game numbers fantasy player. I absolutely do not trust him to stay healthy. I just can't do it anymore. And spoiler alert, he will go later in this draft. And look, Giannis misses some time, but he played 73 games last year, has averaged 68 games over the past 3 years. Yeah, he's going to have knee maintenance once in a while. But again, this is someone finished top forward MVP for 6 straight seasons. You just know what you're getting at this point, the two-way production from Giannis.
And then at number 7, I debated Embiid, but really dislike him for all the reasons you mentioned. I just don't trust him to play north of 60-something games. So I'm going with Steady Eddie, Jayson Tatum of my Boston Celtics. I just don't believe that LeBron and KD are going to have back-to-back healthy seasons. They were both surprisingly healthy last year, but now LeBron's going to be 39 years old, a year older than Al Horford. And he's got a lot of miles on those legs with all those championship and playoff runs. KD's going to be 36 next season. Give me the ever-steady Tatum, who will only be 26 years old next season. He's had 3 straight seasons of 74-plus games with 26-plus points, 8-plus rebounds, 3-plus triples, 85+% field free throw shooting, over 4.4 dimes, and less than 3 turnovers a game, 3 years in a row. Steady Eddie wins the race. I'll take Jayson Tatum at number 7.
Tatum's health is a really underrated part of, I think, just him as not even just a fantasy player, but a real life player as well. Been major. All right, well, I said someone was going to do it, and it's going to be me. I'm taking Joel Embiid, number 8. I think Embiid, of anybody who's going to go in the first round this year, will have the widest variance of where he will go. I think some people are going to take Embiid 4th. I think some people are going to take Embiid like at the turn at 12. Yeah. He was the best, again, ACAT player by a wide margin last year. There's a bunch of different numbers I can point to, but that's just the facts. He was a legitimate, obviously won MVP 2 years ago, number 1 option on a 76ers team who, look, their roster is really in flux right now, but at the end of the day, the core is Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid. He's going to be in the discussion for MVP again. It's just a health issue. But at number 8, at some point, getting like 52 games out of Embiid is going to be the same as getting like 75 games out of someone else who's farther down the list. So there's a risk-reward assessment. There's no perfect way for us to sit here and talk about where he should go because it's just what you prefer, what type of league you're in. But at number 8, I feel like there's a fine spot for him.
Yeah, if you're a late first-round pick, especially in a 2-center league, right? Oh my gosh, Joel Embiid's a wonderful pick late in the first round. And then you just cross your fingers and probably get a good reserve. Anyway, at number 9, I'm going back to the guard position and Tyrese Haliburton. He was on fire before a January hamstring injury slowed him down. And his end-of-season stats are going to be hampered by that hamstring injury where, he gutted it out and played because the Pacers were making a push for the playoffs. From the start of the season to January 6th last year, he averaged 24 points, almost 13 dimes, while shooting almost 50% from the field and getting 1.2 steals plus low turnovers. He's only going to be 25 years old next season. I'm expecting a healthy bounce back and, frankly, an improved season from Haliburton.
Yeah, those basically pre-January numbers, pre-injury numbers are really important to point out for Haliburton because he was unbelievable, and it kind of, like you mentioned, went downhill from there. Okay, with my final pick, the number 10 slot, I'm taking Domantas Sabonis. This was a really hard choice. Like, I think if you're picking in this turd zone in the first round, this is a really tough spot to draft. I would not envy drafting in this place. You have so many different factors. So I'll go through this a little bit more than we have some other picks because I think this is really important. Like, based on last year or this year, however you want to say it, Donovan Mitchell would be the pick here. Just based on fantasy stats. Yeah. He had like the best defensive season of his career. The steals and blocks are highly variant. Do I necessarily trust him to do that again this year? Cleveland might have some roster turnover. Mitchell might not even be on Cleveland next year. So I got a lot of questions there.
Also, I played 55 games last year.
Yes. Do I trust KD? Do I trust Kawhi? Do I trust LeBron to stay healthy? Do I even trust LaMelo to stay healthy? Not to mention he's on a terrible team. We know, throughout the years, especially recently, we've seen how much bad teams have affected people's fantasy seasons, right? Especially if yours goes into April. Even Trae Young, who I also considered here, a lot of uncertainty around him and the Hawks. Still wouldn't necessarily mind that pick here. I really thought about Anthony Edwards. That was my gut reaction pick, was Anthony Edwards. I'm completely fine if you want to take him at 10, but Sabonis was a much better fantasy player. Edwards is on the up and up. We all know that, right? This is the safer play. Sabonis is proven. He's safe. He was this season's rebound leader and triple-double leader. He's missed 3 games total in the past 2 years.
82 games last year. The usage rate's through the roof.
His role's not expected to change. It's not the upside play. I think a lot of people will draft Anthony Edwards at 10. I'm going Sabonis for now. My opinion might change later on in draft season, though.
Well, in roto leagues, you love these practically 60% from the field with high volume. That is a real gem from Sabonis. Of all those names you mentioned, I also would go Sabonis at number 10. And that's it for our way too early top 10 picks for the fantasy basketball 2024-2025 season. Enjoy those NBA finals. Go Celtics.